this is from your student journal, page 27. So in this section of 2-2, the first thing I want you to do is cross off this horizontal stretch and shrinks. So we're going to be looking at vertical stretch and shrinks and their reflections. So all of these involve A, or in vertex form, A is the number or the coefficient in the very front. So if A is negative, remember we said if A is negative, looks like this, then we have a quadratic that is downward facing. So think A is negative, and you should add this to your notes. Then you have a downward facing or a sad face, right? So if the number in front is negative, you're going to have a downward facing or a sad face. If A is positive, we're also not doing this reflection across the y-axis. Cross that out also. If A is positive, then we're going to have an upward facing thing. Parabola. Now the other thing that we're going to look at are vertical stretches and shrinks. So a vertical stretch, you can think this one. So I've taken this parabola and I stretched it up. Think about stretching your arms up. And so this parabola here in the middle is skinnier. So that is what we're going to call a vertical stretch. Stretch it up, make it skinnier. This one right here is a vertical shrink. So this one is the stretch. And if you wanted to remind yourself that that makes it skinnier or narrower, well, I'll put skinny. And then the shrink, which is this one, think about you're taking this parabola and you're pushing down on it vertically. Vertical means up, down. So when you push down on it, it gets fatter. So this would be fatter or wider. This would be skinnier or narrower. So I think the easiest way to remember is the stretch. If you take this and stretch it up, it gets skinnier. Stretch makes it skinnier. Shrink makes it wider. Now here is the other thing, which was explained pretty well in the first video you watched. The stretch means A, it says right here, A is greater than 1. So A is going to be equal to things like 2, 3, 2.5, etc. Bigger than 1. Now, this is going to make it skinnier. Just like he said in the other video, what was a 1 became a 3, so that stretches it up and makes it skinnier. Now this says A is between 0 and 1, so I want you to think of a measuring cup, and I want you to think of the numbers on the measuring cup that are between 0 and 1. So they're like 1/4, 1/3, 1/2. These fractions that are between 0 and 1 make your parabola fatter. That's a vertical shrink. So in the example, in the other video, he talked about 1/3. So instead of going up to y equals 1, we only went up to y equals 1/3, so it made it fatter. So remember, A does two things. A changes the shape of the parabola, makes it skinnier or fatter. And A also, if A is negative, flips it upside down. Okay, so what I would like you to do now is we want to add this example to your notes. I'm going to turn my phone here. Sorry about this.